If you're interested in the island of Tenerife, then this video is for you. Support the channel with a like. This is a channel about real estate. My name is Damir Makarov. Let's go. The biggest downside of Tenerife is the children's infrastructure, the infrastructure for kids. There's very little of it here. And you might think, yes, there are schools and kindergartens here, but there are very few of those as well. Not every settlement has municipal institutions where you can send your child. So if you live somewhere in the mountains, you'll have to drive your child or put them on a school bus. Because yes, there are school buses here and it might seem convenient, but in reality, it's not that convenient. Because if you have a school or kindergarten within walking distance, you can just walk your child there hand in hand and you won't have to spend money on gas or waste time. You drop them off, pick them up the same way, and super convenient. In all other cases, of course, this is a huge downside. And if we're talking about children's clubs or sports groups, there are very few of those as well. For example, right now I'm walking in the south of Tenerife. This is the town of Costa. And basically, it's one of the best areas on the island. Why? Because here you have a school, a kindergarten, shops, clubs, and all kinds of gyms. Everything is within walking distance here. You won't have to go out of your way to get to a shop or a shopping center. They are here as well. If we are talking, for example, about the town of Los Gigantes, you have to bring your child here from there. Everything is located on this site. And yes, Los Gigantes does have municipal facilities, but it doesn't have the clubs and activities that you find here. For example, in the city of Adeje, in Costa Adeje, you'll need to spend 25 or 30 minutes one way just to take your child there. Another big problem, both in Tenerife and in Spain in general, is playgrounds for children. It's very hard to find a playground, a park for sports, pull-up bars, parallel bars, basic things like that. And really, if you look at the map, if you open Google Maps, you'll find very few places where you can work out. Why is that? That's a big question. It seems to me that the municipality wouldn't need to spend that much money to create places for training. Probably no one needs it, so they just don't build them. Of course, this is a resort, definitely a resort area, but I wish there were more infrastructure for children. It's the same in Valencia. If you open Google Maps now and start looking for some kind of calisthenics park, is that what it's called here? You'll find very few of them. And even if there is a small playground, if you go there to work out, there will be very few pieces of equipment. Not only are they rare, but they're also quite basic. Even for small children, there aren't that many different climbing structures or swings where they can spend time. That's a big downside. I believe that the most important thing is the children. I think that we live for the moments for ourselves and of course for our growing generation. Therefore, to give the next generation the most, you need to think ahead right away about what you'll get in a particular place. So, if you want to move to Tenerife, you need to choose the area for relocation very carefully, because it could happen that in a few years the situation will change. Your child might need to go to school or to kindergarten. You might have children, say in a few years, and you'll face the usual municipal issues that every parent encounters, no matter where they live. And every parent either drives their child to school or walks them there by hand. And for you, it will either be convenient or inconvenient. The second major drawback of Tenerife is logistics. Yes, everything is here. Food, transportation, basically everything is available. There are no problems with clothing either. But still, not all brands and not all companies deliver to the Canary Islands. For example, Nike and Puma stores, they are not here, they are not represented on the island. And if you want clothes from these brands, you can order them. But the official websites don't deliver to the Canary Islands. You might say that there are services that deliver any packages or clothing to the Canary Islands and that there's really no problem with this. Yes, that service is called Guangxi. And for example, if you want to order pants, shoes or a shirt, the delivery cost here through the Guangxi website will be €5. But if you want to order, say, a corner bathtub, which I can't find here in Tenerife right now, that is a regular bathtub, 1 meter by 1.5 meters, is difficult to buy here. Why is that? Because this is an island. So when you start looking for these items on the Leroy Merlin website, they're available but not here. And there's a problem with those things, those products that you can't have delivered here. In other words, you can currently order delivery of this bathtub from mainland Spain so that it arrives here. The most cost-effective option for you would be to find the bathtub here in the Canary Islands. And at most you can order delivery within the Canary Islands. So they bring it to you here. That won't be too expensive for you. And you might say that this is a minor drawback. It's not such a big deal if you can't buy some clothes. It's not the end of the world if you can't get a bathtub. But the thing is, there are some things you just don't want to overlook. For example, buying a car. If I want to buy a black Mercedes and it's not available here, then I'll have to wait for it. Wait 2-3 months, maybe even 4 months. But if you go to a Mercedes dealership in Barcelona, you can buy it right away. On the very first day you walk in, imagine you have the money. You're ready to make the deal, you're ready to buy a car or some other expensive item, and you already feel like a winner. You have the money, that's it. You're practically the owner of this thing already. But in reality, you can't buy it simply because there are logistics issues here, and the specific configuration of the car or the features of the product you want just aren't available. And these are difficulties you can learn to live with. That's why I put this downside in second place. Friends, and as for the third downside, I tried to come up with something, but I just couldn't. No matter who I talked to, no matter who I asked, name the top 3 downsides of Tenerife. And for some reason, everyone immediately started talking about the positives, even though I was asking about the downsides. It's really hard to find the downside here, because after all, this is a paradise on earth, a paradise for living. If you want to move to Tenerife and you're weighing all the pros and cons, keep in mind that there are 2 main downsides here: logistics and infrastructure for children. Everything else, well, those are really just minor things. Everything else, those are such small things that you can eventually get used to. Please write in the comments whether you consider this to be downsides at all. And if they are significant for you, my company offers turnkey real estate services on the island of Tenerife. Also, if you need a car for the weekend or for the holidays while you're here, all the contacts are in the description. My team will help you find both a car and real estate. Hugs to everyone. See you soon.